Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about how to buy a guaranteed male at a local fish store. And this runs into one of my philosophies, which is how do I create the most beautiful, most healthy, amazing fish tank and or just experience of the hobby with the least amount of money and effort for the greatest results. So buying fish when they're smaller is always cheaper. They're like plants. If you ever looked at buying a large fruit tree, they're very expensive. Look at buying a small rootstock fruit tree, they're really cheap. If you try to buy a Taiwan reef like this at 6 inches, it's going to cost you anywhere from $40 to $60. If you buy a juvenile 1 to 2 inch Taiwan reef, it's going to cost you anywhere between $10 and $15 or even cheaper. So again, if you have endless amounts of money, this video is not for you. But if you're like most people and you're trying to have a hobby that you really enjoy, but you're also trying not to spend all your money on it, this video is for you. So when I go to my local fish stores, the way that typically what happens is, if you're looking at a tank that's full of, let's say they're full of deep water haps, right? Just for example, it could be any of these fish. Often they have a group of between 10, 30 or more fish of one species. And typically they get them very small, 1 to 2 inches. And at that size, it's really hard to tell if it's a male or female. Usually there's almost no coloration. And you just have a few clues you can go by. So my greatest tips are there are several things you can look for. So coloration is one. So if you see a fish that has any color, it doesn't mean it's a guaranteed male, but it has a better chance. And when you put all these clues together, you give yourself the best shot. I recently actually bought the 2 fish that I bought recently that I did this method are the Fusco and the VC10. There's the VC10. And so I still don't know if this is a male or not. It has some color. And then the Fusco, here's the Fusco, right? Also, when you get a close-up on the Fusco, you can see it does have some color. It's hard to tell from how far away it is here. But so the way I picked out those 2 fish, for example, is they did have some color, right? So that is one of the signs. Any kind of coloration, males, depending on the fish, and most Africans, males are the ones that have the color. Females are silver and have no color. And again, when they're that small, they all look like females typically. They're all silver and have no color. But if you can see any sheen or shine or glimmer or glint of color, that's one clue. The next clue that I look for is the largest fish. Males typically, which also goes into the next clue, are food dominant. So the other way you can test for that, besides the size of the fish, is by putting your fingers, like I'm going to do now, towards the top of the tank. And when you see that, when you do that at your local fish store, and you can see now, of course, they're always hungry, they're going to rush to the top of the tank. And usually you can tell, males are more food aggressive and they're higher in the hierarchy. So they'll kind of, they'll be there first, and if there's another fish, they'll get scared away. Which also goes into another clue, which is a male will chase fish. Female will, but not as consistently and as often. So if you see a large fish with a little tiny bit of color who shoots up to the top first and is chasing other fish, the chances of that being a male are extremely high. The other thing you can do, which is not always possible, is you can ask the local fish store employee to feed the fish. And again, that will just give you a better idea of who is food dominant. And so, I did that with this VC10 back here in the Fusco. And this VC10 had the most color, it was the largest, and it was the most food aggressive when the employee fed. And so we'll see. The jury is still out, but those are my most solid tips. And of course, again, the reason why that this is important, in my opinion, is this allows you to get more fish for less money. Because that employee, for example, told me straight to my face, which is very true for most local fish stores, once they do start coloring up, depending on the fish, but once they can start identifying males, which can happen as early as 2 to 3 inches. Those prices are going to shoot up. If they know it's a male, they're going to charge more. So those are my best tips and tricks on how you can get a good deal on a male cichlid at a small size at your local fish store. So just to recap quickly, you're looking for the largest fish, you're looking for the most food aggressive, and you're looking for any color. And if they will feed the fish, you should be able to see not just when you put your hands toward the top of the tank what the fish do, but when there's actual food in the tank, how they behave. So if you found this helpful, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and put any comments down below if you have any more further questions, or just any questions at all about this topic. And yeah, look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, thanks so much. Take care.